views to 0809 444 0981. With me in the studio to do analysis to these stories, we have Ayo. Ayo is at Esho1 on Twitter. Good morning, Ayo.
Good morning, Valentine.
Welcome. And we also have Cheta. Cheta is Chickstar. That's CHXTA on Twitter. Good morning, Cheta. Good morning. You don't want to greet us? All right, good morning. And then Tunde, good morning. Welcome.
Morning.
Today's at Big Cuffs on Twitter as well. Lagos, remember that hashtag freshlypressed981, WhatsApp 0809 444 981. The first story is from Vanguard newspaper. New media bill, draconian, unconstitutional, anti-people, anti-free speech, publishers, editors, NUJ, and BON are all crying out about this, including the judges. They said they've described the new media bill currently before the National Assembly as draconian, unconstitutional, anti-people. They're asking the National Assembly to drop the bill, and also asking the Senate to borrow for best practices on the floor of the House. What's your thoughts on this story?
It's going to be unfair to make judgment based on what they've said so far, but from what I can see, I think I'm going to attempt to saying that it will criminalize journalists' practice despite the law of the country. It will interfere with the operations of the media, and it will also affect the freedom of expression. And it's something that we need to hold dearly. The freedom of speech and expression is very important to us as a country, because my dad used to be, he retired as a journalist, and he used to say the fourth arm of government is actually the media. So you have the media is the one that holds the three arms of government.
But what would you perceive this as, Ayo? Would you perceive this as trying to stifle the media and stifle opposition, stifle the voices of people who apparently request for these politicians in times of elections, for instance, to come and defend their reasons for being elected or for choosing to run in the first place?
I think, first of all, I need to say this. I need to really see what this bill looks like. I've not read it, but based on what I have with me, I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's a way of controlling the media. If you remember 2016, where the Anti-Social Media Act was coming on board before it was dropped eventually, these were the things that we were saying, that people have to have the opportunity to express themselves. As much as we understand that you want to control what is being what diffuses into the general public, at the same time you cannot hold people's expression. And the media is very important to hold our office holders accountable to the people who elected them. And they said
and do so as well in a responsible manner. Because you find in some cases there are situations, or there are peculiar cases that are in court, and then you find that some arms of the media are probably just weighing into those stories, just maybe out of the desire to to be news hungry or sensationalist news hungry, and go into the stories, thereby committing subjudice of course.
Okay.
I mean, the check and control, when you look at all these things holistically, these factors really that affect free speech, would you say it might be a legitimate request?
What's funny here is there's a part that says that the bill seeks to create the impression that the Nigerian media community does not take the issues of ethics and self-regulation seriously, whereas it is a well-known fact that the mechanism already exists. So according to them, they are saying they already have those ethics being checked as of now, and the case is also in the Supreme Court, to stop them and to halt them from going forward. So I can understand why they're fighting this, and if the information they've given so far is anything to go by, I'm with them on that. One other part that sounds funny to me is they said instead of them to actually pass into law that presidential and governorship elections debate should be before elections, they're saying that those are the kind of bills that they should be trying to pass. But I find that funny, because in Nigeria, I think debates doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but it's not funny, because it's a legitimate request. If we hear and we're able to discern the mental capacity of people who are vying for political positions, it would put us in a better position of choice, really, to know who to elect beyond all the partisan mantra.
Yes, it will do that for us, the elites, and a lot of the elites don't even vote eventually.
Not just the elites. I mean, everybody who has access to certain points of media, radio, TV.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I know. I'm just saying that as of now, the way Nigeria is, debate doesn't really matter in elections.
It does.
So
I'm sorry, I'll contest that any day. Actually, does.
okay.
Cheta, why are you looking at me? It doesn't. Why? We're in Nigeria. It doesn't necessarily mean that we should rely on the. No, it does.
Debates don't.
You find more people now coming into.
In the last governorship election, the two leading candidates were not there. We've never had a presidential election where all the leading candidates are there.
That would be us dwelling in the past.
No, the past was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Valentine, this is reality. Going up or going down a debate.
I know. The reality I'd like to accept is what I would want to see.
Yeah,
ideally.
I hope so too in the future, but as of now.
Okay, whether it doesn't, it might not have the kind of relevance we want it to have today. Doesn't mean we shouldn't, do it a lot. We should continue. It will get to that point.
But it's just,
all right.
the fact is right now, it doesn't matter.
Let's move on, gentlemen. The next story from New Telegraph has this one. New Telegraph newspaper, $10 billion FDI in disarray as scam rocks gas sector. So in this report, Tunde, the $10 billion foreign direct investments FDI projections for liquefied petroleum gas, otherwise known as cooking gas industry in Nigeria. It says in disarray as the multi-million dollars international scam rocked the sector. According to this report, it said the foreign investors were allegedly duped via transactions with the Secretariat of Nigerian Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association over funding covering visas, hotel, local transport, and sponsorship of the 5th African LPG Summit organized by the group in Lagos, have indicted the executive secretary of the group, one Mr. Joseph Eromosele, for defrauding them. And I said the police has waded in and started investigations of this.
Yeah.
What's your take?
I mean, this is beyond irresponsible to say. I mean, it's okay. So there's a potential for investment. The potential size of the potential size of our liquefied natural gas market is in the tens of billions, right? So it's attractive to investors, and someone was helping, organize investors to come through, and so that's why there was potential for these guys to spend upwards of 10 billion in our energy sector to help, revive it and allow us, harness some of that. What do we put it at risk for? We put it at risk for, change, small money for arranging visas, paying for accommodation and handling logistics. It's disgraceful. If you can't be trusted in little things, how do you expect to be trusted in much bigger things? So it's obviously left a very bad taste in the mouth, and it's jeopardized the entire deal. It's gone forward because it's just purely frauding where none of those services were delivered, or it was grossly overquoted and beyond par, and taking it up with a special fraud unit. It's disgraceful when the full extent of, I don't even know, it's beyond this, and the consequence of what behavior like this does is that there's so much that we can. One, clearly it does that. We already have. It's like we're trying to swim upstream when it comes to getting people to trust Nigerians and Nigerians doing this, and then things like this happen, and they'll be like, aha. You get,
and they probably categorize it as typical Nigerian factor.
Exactly,
which is sad.
So, it's so unfortunate. The full weight of the punishment times 2, is sounds like it's not even adequate. Look at the amounts that we're talking about. It's ridiculous. I hope that the situation can be salvaged because that sector does need a lot of investment, despite all the talk about cutting out gas flaring and harnessing that area. We haven't done it. There's talk that we have more gas than even crude oil, and that's something that we're not maximizing our returns on.
All right, thank you very much, Tunde. Moving on to Vanguard newspaper for this next story. Apapa traffic. Lagos government sets up mobile court to try traffic offenders. So Cheta, for the better part of last week, that was really the fear in the hearts of Nigerians, and Lagosians have been clamoring for this to end, from the traffic situation to the tanker drivers. It seems like the Lagos state government is actually sitting on top of this, making sure that they took proactive steps to curtail this. They said the task force, operation of the task force to set up a mobile court that would really arrest drivers of articulated vehicles who violate traffic regulations that could be made to happen. They've extended that to 48 hours. What do you think the effect of this would be in the coming week or two?
Nothing. We have this habit of leaving the horse that is running outside of the stable and put in this table, it's not about whether truck drivers are violating traffic laws. Now, it's about the fact that there are just too many trucks. That's the real problem. I mean, all of these are palliatives that fly in the face of the realities and ultimately will be futile. Now, here's the facts. The distance between Lagos to Kano via the A2 is 8,132 kilometers. Most trucks now use the A2 because the A1 has collapsed between Mokwa and Jeba. The distance between Warri and Kano via the A2 is 915 kilometers. That is, we have what, over 200 kilometers shy. For
the benefit of the average man who's listening right now, explain A1 and A2.
The expressway systems.
Yeah.
So I've tweeted about it a lot. If I start, it will.
All right, go ahead.
Basically, we have a situation where the vast majority of goods imported into this country come in via Lagos, Apapa, Tinkan, which is, whereas we have ports in Warri, Sapele, Koko, Port Harcourt, One, Calabar, that are more or less lying idle. So last week, the Guardian newspaper did an excellent report, complete with video, where they talked with truck drivers, and there was this guy that said he had spent 16 days in the traffic. What they call it? Another one said that they no longer sleep at night because whenever they sleep, area boys come and steal their batteries and their diesel. So this brings us to the question we really should be asking: what is the cost of this traffic thing and how can we sort it? And what we need to do really is we need to decongest Apapa and Kine is just palliatives. Whether you say the continental shelf is too high for deep ocean going vessels in all the other ports, okay, how about using intermodal freight transport systems like they use in the US or in the Indonesian archipelago?
But I mean, Cheta, let's thanks to parking actually decongest the roads as has been the occurrence.
Drive along Western Avenue and all of that. How many of the articulated vehicles there are petrol tankers?
Very few.
Thank you. So is it the person who is coming to export ginger from Kano that will drive into a tank farm?
Thank you very much. There's a question to ponder. We have messages here on WhatsApp here on 0809 444 0981. It's freshly pressed 981. Big T says, Valentine, debates are important. Let's talking about the free speech bill, actually the new media bill that the journalists are hammering against. They said the debates are important, but in Nigeria today it does not matter. Most governors and even presidents ignore it, but yet win. Our literacy levels are low, so we really do not appreciate a debate. He also goes on to say, trucks on our roads, you cannot have any solution until Warri, Sapele, or airports are fully functional. Why import everything via Lagos? Break the mafia, free the roads, Big T says. Thank you very much. Yinka says, guy, it's more grammar first. Who sponsored the bill? MI from Akoka says, it's very interesting how certain people use a particular ladder to climb a wall, then turn around to destroy it when they have gotten to their position. Of course, there's a preponderance of fake news and information, especially on new media platforms, have been weaponized. However, it's not valid enough reason to stifle the freedom of speech and expression in a democracy. Thank you very much, MI. Henry says, new media bill, Buhari can never change. He's just obsessed. All right, with power, Henry, please be careful the kind of allusions you make, really. Well, personal opinion, we respect that, but keep them coming here on WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. Also on Twitter with our hashtag freshly pressed 981. Punch newspapers, this next story. Court strikes down Kano's consultants. I'll still stick with you, Cheta, for this story. It said the Federal High Court in Abuja has struck down sections 96 and 97 of the Kano State Revenue Administration Amendment Law number 3 of 2017, which empowers the state to collect consumption tax. So this apparently is doubling up the taxes on certain goods and services. Cheta, what are your thoughts?
I mean, based on the overarching law of the land, which is that thing called the 1999 Constitution, what Kano has done is wrong. So the court can only rule on what is before them, the law. However, all of this brings up the whole conversation about the rights of states, in other words, called restructuring. And we have to go to first principles here. What Kano essentially did is what is called a value-added tax. A value-added tax is a type of tax. So it starts from first principles. Value-added tax is a type of tax that is assessed based on increase in value of product or service at each stage of production or distribution. And it is meant to compensate for shared services and infrastructure provided by a certain locality and funded by its taxpayers. Now, if you go to the U.S. Council for International Business and check out their website, they listed the VAT in various countries and all of that. And what I quickly found was that the vast majority of countries, their VAT is a range. It's not a hard figure. It's usually a range. So, for example, VAT in the Netherlands is between 7 and 17%, depending on which locality you are in. Nigeria is one of 3 countries I could find. There are probably more rates.
Yeah.
The other 2 being Albania and India. What that tells me, and I did some further research to find out what that tells me is that these countries, Nigeria, are stifling revenue from our subnational units. So ultimately, we are going to have more attempts by states to find ways to raise money so that they can function. And then because we'll keep striking them to be the purview of the states or the subnational units. End of story. All of these other things are just noise within it.
Different permutations there, though. We'll look at the Punch newspaper for the next story. Come clean on United States immigration status. VO and DG tells Atiku as the forthcoming election 2019. We see a lot of people actually vying for different positions or declaring their intention to run. Now, the director of Voice of Nigeria, Mr. Osita Okechukwu, has challenged the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to come clean on his U.S. immigration status, saying that if he's going to run as the Nigerian president and he's not unable to go to the U.S., it just puts a question on his personal intentions, or his integrity as a whole. Ayo, what's your take on this?
This is quite political, and
it's very political,
very, very political. and why I don't like this is, what's happening here is trying to twist the truth. Now, there's the possibility that as of now, Atiku still probably has a problem with his immigration.
Possibility.
I don't know.
Okay.
He might even have a
possibility.
I'm saying
okay.
he might at the moment even have his immigration status actually changed. I don't know. I don't have that information. What I'm saying is, 8 months ago there was an interview with Dele Momodu, and then his application still in progress, and then even made mention of the president as of then 15 years waiting list because of religious consideration, and then that was overturned. I mean, this is not the first time that would happen. You even mentioned Modi, who was also not able to enter the US for over 15 years also, and then of course right now they're rolling the red carpet for him. So the immigration to the US, except he's such a very terrible human being who has committed a lot of criminal acts. I mean, we even have people that even worse that have committed crime against humanity that's still going to the US, So I don't think it's a serious issue that we should even be talking about.
Why shouldn't he be? Because as an individual, I mean, Tunde,
sorry, just to mention, if Atiku becomes president, for instance, I'm not saying he's going to be tomorrow. I can assure you that will be revisited. No,
not necessarily. There are many world leaders, a number, obviously in the third world, who can't go to the US.
Yes,
but the truth is, going to the US is not a prerequisite for being president or being successful. It's absolute rubbish.
Because it just makes the US seem as if it's a capital of the world. So if you can't gain access to that,
it only goes to show our very low mentality. We don't have. I mean, the fact that this thing keeps coming. Oh, you can't go to the US, therefore you can't become president of Nigeria. I mean,
really.
What I can assure you is that if Atiku becomes president, that will be revisited, except this crime against humanity.
Not necessarily.
The truth of if Atiku becomes president,
give me an example of what
will make him will be one of those
many world leaders.
Give me an example of why.
All right, guys.
There are number of world leaders.
An example of one, not crime against humanity.
There are many.
There are many
world leaders.
Now, I mean, I'm glad we all wade into this, because now as we get closer to next year, as 2019 gets closer, an election, all the noise now keeps increasing. We'll hear of a lot of ridiculous accusations really pay attention to all of them.
Yeah, my issue is also why this is the DG of the Voice of Nigeria.
Yeah,
Can't even try to pretend
As
to be
if it's not
non-partisan.
partisan, exactly.
Come on.
Interesting. JJ from Mushe said the port issue is getting too much. We've been on it for years. Don't we learn? Big E from Ketu says, to me, the problem of all the trucks at the seaports is just based on one state, where there are other ports. Most companies and industries should have a tank or truck farm to park to cut off the hurdles on the way. Is there land for them? This should be the question, really. Obama Chidoze says, good morning, guys. Let's call a spade and not a toothpick. Who stopped this debate issue? Over time, debates have become a requirement before elections, before the APC outrightly refused to honor any debates, which is very important for the electorate to determine what the politicians had to offer.
So did the PDP.
In 2011, Jonathan did not debate.
Exactly.
So let's be honest. They look at debates as convenient.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
it shouldn't be. Nick from Apapa says, fact is, the federal government has refused to fix the roads. The Coconut Tinkan road is dead, and have refused to contract the road to a qualified construction company. Federal government should do the right thing by opening up other ports. One is working, but there's a long but there.
The road from One.
Terrible. Vanguard newspaper has this next one.
I think we'll keep stories like this
Awards.
showing that.
Oh,
tell me. Anyway, so this is they've earmarked money to pay contractors for amounts owed, and they've voted money to complete projects earmarked for the area. It's a good thing. I mean, but it's impossible to take note of the time at which it is coming. And then how is it going to be any different from, because there are abandoned projects in here. They say for especially abandoned projects. There's a reason why those projects became abandoned. Often not because monies were not voted. These monies keep getting rolled over from budget to budget and nothing gets done. But I guess it's not time to go after people for not doing their jobs right. All in all, this whole story is captured in this. This was organized as a special solidarity rally organized for his re-election by people of Ikotek Bene Senatorial District. End of.
Thank you, Tunde.
You're so cynical.
I will come to this next story. Cheta is expressing his opinion.
Well, I quoted from the story.
Yeah,
I didn't
as
make
well.
that up.
Premium Times has this next one. Premium Times newspaper says, why state police will fail in Senate. The lawmaker, the chairman Senate Committee on Police Affairs, Abu Ibrahim, is one who's quoted as saying these things. He said that the fear of indiscriminate arrests as one and detention by state governors as another may kill passage of the State and Community Police Bill. He's saying on the floor of the House of Assembly, for instance, there are a lot of representatives who are against the bill because it might give the state governors power to come after them. Ayo?
Painful as it may, this is a very logical argument, and it's coming from the chairman, Senate Committee on Police Affairs. When I went through this story, as much as I support a little bit of, let me say, I support community policing, okay, and kind of state policing, but I'm looking at the logic here, and I'm looking at the fact that because of this kind of fights that you normally have between the legislative and the executive, and especially in the states, it states here that there will be the disagreement between the National Assembly and the governors may kill it, because they might feel like they might use the police to subdue their political ambitions. That's a valid
or to encourage their political ambitions.
And then put in the ones that they want. He went further and explained that the problem that the police has as of now is lack of funding, and that the police needs 300 billion. So if we now turn it and change the entire structure and then it becomes state policing with this sort of matter, going further to state that probably Lagos, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Kano and Kaduna may be able to pay, but what happens to the others?
The other states seem impoverished. They haven't been able to pay salaries, so that actually still raises a major question regarding their governance.
We're still running around the issue. The issue. Look at the breakdown in internal security. People are using policemen for target practice. Now, what does that point to? In most of these cases where policemen have been shot and their weapons taken away, the policemen have been deployed from outside of those jurisdictions. That tells you that they have no intelligence about what is happening in those jurisdictions. We cannot run away from this community policing or state policing thing. What we should be doing, if we're forward-looking people, is figuring out how to make it work. With instead this one of just talking, oh, the governors will use it to become mini emperors. It is a red herring. How do we prevent the governors from using it to become mini emperors? That's the question we should be asking ourselves.
So I'm thinking that normally I think it actually makes sense to have state policing, but its logic here makes a lot of sense because the people to vote on this.
Everywhere else on the planet where there is effective policing, it is at community level.
Yes, at community level, but its argument here is that it may not pass the third reading
for
it to even go forward. And this is the political reality.
The Senate is going on research this week, so it's probably when we get
based on the sentiments expressed. Let's very quickly go to the story. Cheta, please touch on the story from Premium Times newspaper, where on the Dansuki case, where the Northern Youth Council of Nigeria, the front of the statements, by the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, to the effect he said that
you didn't hear.
No, the headline is
the headline is misleading because the context of it is they're accusing him as one of the people who actually influenced Buhari to flout court orders.
But their statement actually said clearly that Buhari is being misled by a northern cabal for selfish interests. Written in the statement. For me, the question I would like to ask them and all the others who keep saying, "Oh, Buhari is being misled," is Buhari a Peking? Can't he not make decisions? Can't he not evaluate?
He can because he's the president
and make decisions.
It
is ironic that it is the same day that Buhari was in the International Court of Justice talking about rule of law and how the government is committed to democratic principles, that Malami was in Abuja talking about how the government will not release Dansuki because of despite court orders. There have been 6 court orders for Dansuki to be released in the past. Actually, it is shameful to any lawyer. Okay, it's shameful to be in a country where somebody that's a son is Attorney General and is talking that nonsense. I mean, this is the moral equivalent of the Minister of Health coming to tell us that.
Thank you very much.
And I think they insult the president by saying he's been misled.
Like I said, they think he's a Peking. It's clearly they believe that the man has the.
It's better for him to say I'm holding him and I don't want to release him.
Well, out of time. Guys, thank you very much for this for your wonderful analysis. Lagos, check them out on YouTube, youtube.com/smooth91FM Lagos for a recap of the freshly pressed edition today. Freshly pressed 981 will be back again same time tomorrow. In the meantime, go to our WhatsApp 0809 444 981. Share your and observations. We'll be treating that later. Cheta, you can find him at Chickstar on Twitter, CHXTA, at Tunde Okufi is at Big Coats on Twitter, and Ayo is at Esho1. Thank you very much, guys. Good morning.
The headlines.
I love Trump. Drama.
This Trump,
When Trump was in front of Putin, can you imagine? That's the height of it. It's the way he came.